Ketal Eveltal, and welcome to the premier Pokermon channel on YouTube. I am your eponymous host, Shadowcloak, and today we have the third episode of our Pokerdex series, where we take a more in-depth look at specific jokers, starting with the commons. For our first two episodes, we highlighted a Molt joker and a Chips joker, so I thought it would be fair to talk about a utility joker this time, and it's one of my favorites, Hoppip. So what kind of utility does Hoppip provide? At first, it might seem like a joker for seed card builds, but let's not Jumpluff to conclusions, While Hoppip and its evolutions can indeed provide you with some seed cards by sacrificing itself, 2, 3, and up to 5 respectively, I would argue that that's not the main function of the joker. Its real utility comes from the hand size it provides. So, in regular Balatro, there's a joker called the Juggler, which gives you +1 hand size and nothing else. That alone should be an indication that increasing your hand size is pretty powerful, and indeed it is. Going from a hand size of 8 to 9 might not seem like a big deal at first, but it not only increases your chances of finding the cards you're looking for, it also gives you a lot more flexibility when it comes to deciding which cards to keep and which cards to play or discard. The fact then that Hoppip's hand size increase grows as it evolves means that it has to come with a downside to be balanced, and the downside is that you can't use your discards at all anymore. It's a big price to pay for sure, but fortunately Hoppip evolves relatively quickly, requiring only 3 rounds to get to stage 1 and another 4 to get to stage 2. In the end then, Hoppip is a joker that has 2 functions, but those functions are mutually exclusive. If you acquire Hoppip, you have to decide whether you want to use it to get some additional seed cards into your deck, or to keep it for the extra hand size. Now, while seed cards eventually become flower cards, which are very powerful, it's also not the easiest thing in the world to get a seed build going, and there aren't that many jokers yet which interact with the seed mechanic. Thus, you'll usually want to use Hoppip for its seed functionality when you're already building into flower cards. On the other hand, if you find Hoppip in the earlier rounds before you're really committed to a specific build, you'll be better off building around the extra hand size you'll get. So, what kind of synergies are we looking for? Well, if you use Hoppip or its evolutions for the seed cards, that's usually because you're already building into flower cards, so Hoppip is more of a tool that you use to increase your consistency. In other words, Hoppip is something that you use to improve a build you're already going for. However, if you want to build around Jumpluff, you can already put things that rely on discards out of consideration. You'd need to sacrifice your Hoppip to get even a tiny bit of scoring on Charmander or Magmar. On the other hand, there are other jokers that also don't want you to use your discards, so obviously those will provide great synergy. Cyndaquil, for instance, is Jumpluff's BFF, because you won't be discarding anyway, and Jumpluff gives you a huge boost when it comes to making decent scoring hands without discards. Other jokers that work well with Jumpluff are those that care about cards in hand. Bulbasaur and Chikorita not only give you even more hand size to work with, but they also benefit from Jumpluff's bigger hand size and end up making even more money. Trubbish is another example of a greedy little goblin that loves to hoard discards. The important thing to keep in mind though is that not being able to use your discards means that you can't rely on 5-card hands to win. Sure, having more hand size increases your odds, but it's not as many cards as you could potentially see by discarding, and if you need more than one 5-card hand to clear the round, you might be in trouble. Thus, I would suggest trying to build more around easy-to-make hands. It doesn't necessarily have to be high card, but pairs or maybe 2 pairs are advisable. Anyway, enough chit-chatod. Let's get into some gameplay. Alright, let's get hoppin' with Hoppip. So first things first, these skip tags, we don't really care about them. The boss, cards played previously are debuffed, can be pretty annoying, so hopefully we'll find some decent scoring before that. So let's get started. Okay, so here we have 2 choices, right? We have 2 flush possibilities. So the question is, which one do we choose, right? The Diamonds flush has a bit higher score. However, if we check out by rank, right? If we go for the Diamonds flush, we'd play these cards, right? That would be a high card 9. We would only get 9 points, so we're not guaranteed to win with a flush. Even like if you draw 2 of diamonds, right, that might not win. So what I'm going to do instead is go for the clubs flush, because here we play a pair of 5s, which gives us 40 points. And then any clubs that we draw guarantees that we win, right? So let's do that. Play a pair. And there we go. Clubs flush, and we move on. Alright, so crossing our fingers for some scoring here. Since we don't have discards, we need scoring as fast as possible and as much as possible. So Drowsy, okay, that's a pretty good source of scoring. But I'm not sure I'm going to take it here because we need scoring right away, right? If we're going to survive, especially with this hard boss, right? We have the pillar, so we already have a bunch of clubs and diamonds cards that we can't play. So yeah, as a long-term plan, Drowsy is obviously great, right? It's going to get to over +3 molt eventually, but I don't think we can afford to do that now. So let's just open up the Buffoon pack and cross our fingers here. That's not great. So Hitmonchan could be pretty good, but it wants more and more cards in your deck, right? The bigger the deck, the better. However, if you do that with Hoppip, that makes your deck very inconsistent, right? When you don't have the discards and so on. So like the... oh, there's the other thing that it needs time to get going, right? So this is basically just the same situation as the Drowsy. Charmander, unfortunately, isn't going to score, right? Now, normally in a run, if this was just a random run, I would almost certainly sell this Hoppip and take the Charmander because it's just that powerful. However, we're looking to highlight the Hoppip and see how it works. So instead, I'm going to take this Rattata. It's very little scoring, right? Just a couple re-triggers, but it's better than nothing. Could save us a hand here or there. Okay, we can't afford anything else. Let's move on to the big blind. Okay, nothing going here, so I guess we'll just go for the diamonds flush this time. We got the diamonds flush, okay. Is that going to make it? Probably not, even with the 10 or 21 extra chips. Okay, no flush here, but this pair of 10s will win with the re-triggers. Okay. Alright, let's see what we can do about this boss. Okay, so we have basically two choices here. We can go for the tall grass or the Paris. Now, the tall grass could be justified, but with Hoppip, our Joker slots are going to be at a premium, since we really need a lot of scoring, since we're not going to have nearly as much consistency as usual, right? So, it could help us win here. But first of all, we don't even have a guarantee that we're going to get a common Joker immediately, right? And second, yeah, the having this Joker slot occupied by a card that's not going to give you any scoring or anything at all, actually, after you fill it up, it's just too risky, right? So let's take this Paris instead. Now, it's not a guarantee to play 2-pair when we don't have discards, right? It could be pretty hard. But hopefully we'll get enough deck manipulation, and Paris is a scaling Joker, right? When it gets to Parasect, it grows even faster. So there is this element of risk, right? It's not... If it was pairs or high card, then yeah, it would be guaranteed, but 2-pair is not. However, I still think we can get there, especially if we can get a few linking chords, a few strengths, right? So let's try that. We need scoring urgently, otherwise we're not going to make it. So let's try that. Okay, we start off with a full house. That's not bad. Let's start with that. Okay, so here we only have one pair, unfortunately. But the good thing is that only Parasect loses molt when you don't play a 2-pair, right? If you don't play a 2-pair with Paris, that's fine, just nothing happens. So let's do that. Let's throw away this hand, looking for an ace or a queen. There's the ace, and that should be enough to get us out of here. There we go. Okay, so the Rattata, it's not explosive scoring, but it's helping. Okay, now we get +2 hand size. And with +3, then I think it should be a lot easier to get the 2 pairs going. Okay. Definitely taking this Snow Runt. It's one of my favorite economy jokers, right? You get to Glalie, and it resets your money to 0 at the end of every round, so you can basically buy every shop. And okay, you're not going to get as many rerolls, but that's usually fine. It's usually more than worth it. And if you get to a point where you're making a lot of money with lucky cards or gold cards or whatever, you can just sell the Glalie and move on, right? So let's do that. And now that we can go under $0, let's open these Buffoon packs looking for Uranus. No Uranus here, so we'll take the Earth instead. We're even less likely to get full houses, but if we do, they're going to be very powerful. Now, looking for Uranus again. And I guess we'll take another Earth. Okay, so if we do get a full house, we're pretty much guaranteed. Now, we don't have the money to take the hieroglyph yet, right? You can only go to minus 15. So the question is, do we go for it after the next round? And the answer is, I don't think so, right? With Skip Loom and eventually Jumpluff, you're not going to be able to use your discards. So with minus 1 hand, that makes it very, very risky, right? You need to be able to use your hands as discards when necessary. So I think that the hieroglyph is way too risky. So even though it would help us in the sense that it would allow us to get these evolutions going before the scoring gets tougher, but I think it's not worth the risk. So let's just move on to the next one. Okay, so we have 3 pairs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the low pair, because that way the Paris is going to get more molt, and then with more chips it's going to score even more. So hopefully that could save us a hand. So let's start with this. Alright. Okay, now we have another 2 pair. I don't think this is gonna win, but let's try it out anyway. Maybe throw away this 4 instead. Okay, so 1 more should do it this time. We have another one if necessary. Now the question is, do we keep this Rattata? Because it's becoming more and more irrelevant and it's gonna vanish anyway. But one thing that's cool in Pokermon is that because of evolution, the rental tag tends to be less complicated than in regular Balatro, because if the rat, for example, evolves, right, it's going to evolve before the rental makes it debuffed, and it's going to start the clock again, right? So you can keep the Rattata for 5 turns and then the Raticate for another 5 turns. So it's still a rental, right, but it's slightly less problematic in Pokermon. Anyway, let's check out this shop. So we have a couple Celestial packs, and we have this Ghastly. So since we're eventually going to go back to 0 anyway, it's going to take a little while. I think it's worth it, right? We're going to go to minus 12, and we're not going to get a whole lot more than that. But I think that's fine. I think that having a negative Joker is really powerful, especially since, like I mentioned before, right, we need as many Joker slots as possible to make sure that we can win without discarding. So let's take this Ghastly. Now we don't have any more money for any of these. We could sell the Rattata to take the Celestial pack. Is that worth it? I don't think it's necessary yet, so let's just move on. Okay, so that's a 2 pair here. That's fine. That's 38, so hopefully... Oh, there we go, we have a full house. That's gonna one-shot definitely. Otherwise, we might need all 4 hands, but fortunately we don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's check out this shop. Nothing very interesting at all here. I mean, there's the packs, of course, but none of these we care about. So let's do that. Open this. Colorless energy, not very useful. We could take this Leaf Stone to get some lucky cards. We could take this Linking Cord. I think this is definitely a priority, right? We want to have more consistency when making our 2 pairs, and it gives us an out in case we can't find one, right? So let's do that. Save this Linking Cord, and I guess we'll save this Leaf Stone. Could be the Shiny Stone instead, but probably prefer the lucky cards. The lucky cards are a slight bit of a non-bow with Glalie, but if we get enough lucky cards going, we'll be able to sell it eventually, so that's fine. The odds of getting the 20 bucks are pretty small anyway. So, alright, let's move on. Can't do anything here. Okay, the boss is the Rocket, and this is definitely not a problem when you're going for a snow run to build. So let's start here with our first 2 pair. We might need all 4 2 pairs if we can't get full house. So the question is, do we go for the full house here, right? We could increase this 8 into a 9 with a Linking Cord. Maybe reduce this 7 to a 6, right? Then we have a full house. But I don't think that's necessary. Paris is a scaling Joker, right? So we want to play as many hands as possible without dying. And we still have the Linking Cord in case of emergencies. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to play these. I think I'm going to use the Leaf Stone after using the Linking Cord. That way we increase our odds of finding well, we don't increase our odds of finding lucky cards, but the cards that we want to play will be more lucky. Anyway, let's just play this hand, see how much that gets us. Okay, so we should be okay. Unfortunately, there's no 2-pair here, so we have a we have a straight from ace all the way down to 6, but that's not going to help us here. So we're going to use the linking chord. Now the question becomes, when you're in a situation like this, right? You haven't changed any cards yet, and this is pretty arbitrary, right? We want to go for a 2 pairs, but we can choose basically any 2 cards. So which ones do we choose, right? So we have some possibilities. We can go for the faces, but I always find faces, going faces in gold stake pretty risky, because if you get one of the bosses that hoses the face cards, you could be pretty screwed, right? And then when we get to the numbered cards, we can basically go odds or evens, right? Hoping for Oddish or Bellsprout, right? And in this case, I usually tend to go for the pairs, right, which is Bellsprout, because Victory Bell re-triggers your cards, right? And Oddish has an element of variability to it. You don't know exactly how much scoring you're going to get, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So when it comes to these kinds of situations, I will usually choose to go for the even cards, so we can increase increase the rank of this 9 and decrease this 7. That gives us 2 pairs, 10s and 6s, and so we should go after the 10s and 6s in the future with other linking chords, with strength cards and so on, and go for these, and then hopefully we'll find a Bellsprout along the way. Let's use the Leaf Stone here, and we got pretty lucky actually. So let's play it like this. We probably going to need another one, or maybe not. There we go. So you see, it gets to Raticate before it gets debuffed, so we have another 5 turns with it, if necessary. With the lucky cards, I think we'll probably keep that. So the Snorunt is going to evolve into Glalie this next round, but it doesn't immediately get the money back to 0. So just something to keep in mind. We're probably not going to have a lot of money to spend in the next chop. So the question is, do we take this Celestial pack? And I think so. Looking for a Uranus, and we still... oh my god. I guess we have very powerful full houses then. Alright, let's move on. I don't think the standard pack is worth it at this point. Alright. Not a great start. No 2 pair here. So unfortunately we're going to have to take down the Parasect. Not great. And that's also not a lot of scoring. Alright, so let's do this. Let's go for this 2 pair, hoping to draw the full house with the 10s and 6s. Because I don't think the 2 pair scoring is going to be enough. Yeah, if we go for 2 pairs, we're not going to get to 3,000. Unless we get lucky. So now the question is, do we just play this pair of 8s looking for another 10 or a 6? Or do we play the 2 pair and then hopefully draw another 2 pair? But like I said, 2 pairs, two pairs are not going to be enough probably, unless we get a lucky trigger. So I'm just going to play this pair. It's going to take down the Parasect a little bit, but that's fine. And then hopefully we draw a 10 or a 6. There we go, full house. Now we should make it out, no problem. Put the lucky card in front for the retrigger. There we go, that's plenty enough. And now we're on to Glalie. We also have the Haunter, so if we find another linking chord, we can get a Gengar. But first, so I think we can only afford, we can only go to -20, so I think that the best choice is going to be this Buffoon pack instead of this Pocket pack. So let's see what we find here. Okay, Weasel is pretty okay, but we're playing 2 pairs, so that's not what we're looking for. Even though it gives us a lot of chips, which would normally be great, it's just not good enough with Parasect. And we don't want to play anything other than 2 pairs or full houses. So what I'm going to do instead is take this Squirtle for the extra hand size. Not the extra hand size, but the extra hand, which is very valuable when you don't have discards. And it's not going to give us a ton of chips, especially at first. And chips is what we're going to really need, right? We're going to have plenty of mult with the Parasect. But eventually it'll get there, right? So now the question is, do we sell the Raticate? And I think the answer is yes, even though we have lucky cards. I think the extra hand is very, very valuable here. Actually, I was wrong. We can't afford the Pocket Pack now that we sold the Raticate. Do we want that? Since we're going to go back to 0, might as well. Could take the Sunstone instead, but I'll take my chances with the Pocket Pack. Okay, so we have an energy for the Squirtle. We have a Twisted Spoon for the Leaf Stone. Or some money with the Dawnstone. Since we're not very likely to get a full house as our first hand, it would be great, right? It would bring a bunch of money. But it's not very likely. So what I'm going to do instead is take this Twisted Spoon. But I'm not going to use it quite yet. I don't know if the Leaf Stone is the best use for it at the moment. Probably want another linking cord or something like that. So let's move on here. Okay, so let's play this 2-pair here. We're looking for a full house, preferably 10s and 6s. So let's play this first. It's gonna take a while before we get to the correct amount of chips, but okay, so we just need one more 10 and one more 6. Let's play this 2-pair. Yeah, so 2 pairs by themselves would definitely not be enough, but fortunately we got to our full house over here, and that should be plenty. And we get, oh my god. I was just saying, come on. Well, and now with that, when the Glalie is negative, we're even less incentivized to sell it, so, well, that's the way it goes, I guess. Miltank, do we want that? Probably. The money that Miltank gives us only comes after the Glalie resets to 0, so it's always going to be positive for us. So that's definitely worth it. But let's open these packs first. Now the question is, do we want this blank? Do we still have one more round? We don't. We would have to buy it now. So the question is Miltank or blank? Since we already have the 1 negative Joker, I think we're going to take the Miltank instead. It gives us a bit more flexibility. Gives us a bit more staying power. So let's do that and open these packs. Let's see. Okay, so we could take the Molt 6 or the Silver Seal 6, and I'm probably going to take that. We want as many 10s and 6s as possible in our deck, and getting the odd item here or there could be very useful. Let's open this pocket pack. Nothing amazing here. Do we turn this into a Leaf Stone first? I still think we don't. I'm going to take this energy because that's maybe this upgrade instead. Probably more useful. Although we could turn our cards into glass cards and then break them, so that's not great. So yeah, so let's just take this energy here. And I don't know what kind of math I'm doing in my head, but we can in fact afford the blank voucher, so I'm definitely going to do that. Since we're going to go back to 0 anyway. Oh no, we're going to lose a lot of money. Oh, what are we going to do? Okay, so let's start with maybe this 2-pair. Looking for a full house still. Hey, now even if we get the 20 bucks trigger, it's not going to be that bad, right? Okay, so we have a full house. Maybe play it like this. That should be enough. Let's find out. There we go. So we still have a Joker slot here. That's pretty cool. See, now we get another 4 bucks. We get even more money. Alright. We're going to open these 2 packs. So let's start with the Arcana pack in case we find a Hermit. No Hermit. Now I'm kind of regretting not using the Twisted Spoon earlier. Because I want to take this Emperor, right? The Hierophant is kind of whatever. The World, we don't care. The Tower, is kind of whatever. So what do we do? Do we just take the Water? I guess so, right? Not the greatest use of that Twisted Spoon, but we'll be okay. Okay, I guess we fool for another Emperor. Let's do that. What do we get here? Now it shows up. Come on. Alright, fine. Let's do that. What do we get here? Another Fool. Do we want another Magician or another Emperor? Let's think about that later. Let's open this pack here first. Okay, okay. Oh my god. So first we see the Charizard and now the Entei, which is like, what, the one legendary that cares about discards? Okay, so again, any reasonable person would keep the Entei here and say, screw you, Jumpluff. But we're not going to do that. We're going to keep the Jumpluff, because it's a cute little baby, and sell the Entei. Well, at least that gives us a bunch of money. Jesus. Okay, Strength card is pretty cool, actually. Now what? Do we maybe sell the Magician and get 2 strengths? I guess that the Magician isn't really that important since we're not very likely to draw the cards. It's probably more important to be consistent, so let's just sell this, take the strength. We don't want an Eternal Caterpie. Coughing, whatever. A Thunderstone. We're also not very likely to draw our gold card, so we can probably skip that. Let's do one more. None of you are very interesting for us, and none of you are very interesting for us. That's too bad. So the cool thing about Glalie is you can just reroll without remorse, because you're going to go back to 0 money anyway. Let's try to make some more 10s and 6s then. We have a 9 here, so maybe we just save our strength. The question is, if we play this full house, do we win? Maybe? It was pretty close the last time around. I guess it depends on whether this 8 triggers, but let's find out. Yeah, not enough. Okay. So, we still don't have any more 9s or 5s, so I guess we won't use these yet. Could make some 4s instead. That seems okay. Let's do that, but let's save this fool for now. Play this full house, that's gonna win. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Spinnerack is an okay source of chips, but now the Squirtle is starting to get big enough that we don't need it. Roggenrola, not exactly what we're looking for, so let's start with these packs. There's another 6 with a silver seal. I'll definitely take that. Let's see what we get here. There we go. Another 2-pair level. Obviously better to play the full houses, but we're not quite there yet. Let's do some re-rolling. Well, that's pretty tragic. One more time. There's an Oddish, but it's a rental, and like I said, we prefer the Bellsprout, so let's keep looking for that. The boss's face cards are debuffed. We don't have to worry about that. And this is exactly why I didn't want to go into the phase cards. So let's do this here, and maybe I should have used the Fool for the strength first. I don't think 1 Uranus is too important, so let's do this full house. See what we get here. And a Twisted Spoon. Okay, so guess we save those. We don't have a full house here, and I don't know that a 2-pair wins. So do we have more? We have more 6s left in the deck. So I guess we'll do it like this. At least we're growing our jokers along the way. Ooh, barely enough, but fortunately we have another 2-pair here, so that's going to be just fine. Not quite the evolution yet. Okay, that's okay. Let's get our money. And there's a... Okay, this is a much more reasonable position to take the Drowsy, right? We're going to have plenty of opportunity with the Glalie to get all the planet cards that we need. We're going to grow it. We already have enough mulch to survive without it. And it's going to basically guarantee that we can survive into the late game. So this is great. We even have the Joker slot for it. Probably should have opened this Buffoon pack first, actually. That was a mistake. Because then, if we don't want anything, we could sell it, right? Fortunately, that's not going to be the case. We have our Bellsprout here, finally. So let's sell this Miltank. The extra money is nice, but it's definitely not necessary. We could, at this point, sell the Squirtle, because the Bellsprout is going to give us more than enough chips. But I still value the extra hand quite a lot. Even though we're getting plenty of scoring, it might not be necessary, but at this point I think I'd rather be safe than sorry. So let's open this pocket pack. Okay, so we have the Twisted Spoon. So let's take this linking cord. It's not great to use it now, though. We could get maybe 110. Oh, no, we can. Decrease this and increase this. Perfect. Now we get another linking cord. Let's just do that just so I don't forget. Okay, we'll take this Venus for the Drowsy. And roll the dice one more time. Nothing very interesting here. The Moonstone, unfortunately, is not going to help with the Drowsy because it cares about planet cards specifically being used, not about levels. So let's go next to this boss that is not going to be a problem for us. Okay, do we go straight for the full house by using the linking cord here? I think I'm going to say no, because I want another... Oh, we could use on this one, though. How many 10s and 6s? I have... Yeah, so let's do this. We'll get another 10 here, 2 more 10s. And let's play this full house. The Fool is on Venus, so we don't care about that. Is that going to be enough with the Drowsy? Yes, it is. Great. Alright. I think now we should be pretty okay for the rest of the run. We have plenty of chips, we got more hands, we got our scaling molt, we got our scaling X molt, so we should be a-okay. Do we take this hone already? Probably. Let's do that. Still have 19 bucks to work with, so let's start with the Jumbo Celestial Pack and go over Drowsy. Let's take the Pluto that we don't have yet. Okay, and now the Pocket Pack. So, okay, 2 choices here. We can take this, well, 2 good choices, I think. We can take the Psychic Energy for the Drowsy, increase the scoring, or we can take and save the Leaf Stone for when the Bellsprout evolves into Weeping Bell, we can immediately get the Victory Bell. So the argument for the Psychic Energy is that we could just eventually find another Leaf Stone, right? If we keep this Leaf Stone in our tab for another 3 rounds, was it? Yeah. We're going to miss other opportunities to find Leaf Stones. We're going to miss the open slot. But I don't think that one Psychic Energy is going to increase our scoring by that significant an amount. And we're not having trouble clearing the rounds at all. We're one-shotting them, so I'm going to take this Leaf Stone and keep it there. Just waiting for the Bellsprout to evolve. Prism Scale we don't care. Whooper we don't need, so let's go next. Okay, this is annoying. Not having the... Not even a 2-pair, but that's okay. It's like not the end of the world. I just didn't want to lose some scoring on Parasect, but we'll survive. We'll survive. Okay. Barely got our full house there. We could play the 5 of a kind, but again, I don't want to lose Molt on the Parasect. We could use the Leaf Stone here. Try to get some lucky triggers, and then hope that we find another one. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save it and guarantee that we evolve to Victory Bell, because I think it's pretty good, actually. So let's do that. This should help us, should get us to clear the round. There we go. We've got plenty of scoring here. So now it's just a question of increasing our consistency, right? Making sure that we can get at least a 2-pair in almost every hand. So here, I guess the order doesn't matter since we're going negative anyway. Okay, so the Hermit, never gonna matter for us, but the Temperance gives us 22 bucks. That's a lot of bucks. So we're gonna do that. Now the question is, do we get even more money? Because rerolls have diminishing returns, right? You don't want to get to, like, when you're spending 10, 11 bucks on a reroll. But on the other hand, our money is gonna reset every round. So we might as well, right? The question is, do we save this Fool for maybe another tarot card? I guess we don't need that, right? Let's just go with the power of rerolls. So let's look for some consumables and some decent jokers. The Dawnstone could give us some money, could maybe not give us some money, but we're looking pretty good to make at least a 2-pair, right? So let's Just keep it in the stash for now. Could take the Yanma. Pretty good with the re-triggers, right? But we're doing 10s and 6s, and we don't need that much scoring, and it takes a pretty long while to evolve anyway. Might not even get to Yan Mega before the end. So let's not do that. Let's keep re-rolling. We definitely want to go negative, right? Since we're going back to 0 anyway. Do we take an Eevee? I don't think any evolutions are particularly interesting for us right now. So let's keep going. Magby, we don't want discards. Guess we'll take another full house. Doesn't hurt. I prefer another planet, but that's fine. Oh wait, we can open this jumbo pack. Jumbo pocket pack. Not great choices again. Let's see. King's Rock, we don't care. We don't care about stone cards. Guess we'll just keep growing this Wartortle. It's gonna be a pretty strong Blastoise. Still have a couple rerolls. Sentret. That would have been another good build around, but because it's a scaling Joker, just like the Parasect. But we already got the Parasect, so let's throw it one more time. We're not playing 9s. Teddy Ursa is also pretty good with Glalie because you're basically guaranteed to open every booster pack in every shop. But again, we already have a scaling Joker, so let's just go next. Alright, we don't have the full house, but at least we have a 2-pair. So let's do that. Play this. We're not going to sell it yet, otherwise it's money thrown in the bin. Oh god, we whiffed again? I mean, we're getting enough scoring that it's fine, but ugh. Alright. There's the full house. Could have had you at the beginning, but that's fine. That's plenty of scoring. Oh my god, there we go again with the... That's fine, that's fine. Glalie still a lot of value, and the real value of the lucky cards is the plus multi-triggers, at least in our situation. So let's use this, get some money, get some more money here. Okay, only one more round for the Leaf Stone. We'll take the Strength. Let's open this Buffoon pack first. Nothing pretty interesting, nothing very interesting. We could, if this Glalie wasn't negative, I could consider replacing it with a Venonat, right? Because that would make it even more likely for us to get the $20 triggers. But it's a rental, and the Glalie's a negative, so let's just skip this pack. We'll take the Strength. We want more 10s and more 6s. Maybe should have re-rolled before I opened this Arcana pack. Should have thought about that. Because if we re-roll all the way down to -20, we can just go back to 0. Oh, good God. But that's fine. We'll just throw this Silver Seal on a 10. And do a little re-rolling. Ooh, High Priestess. I don't think that's more important than the Strength right now. How many? We have 5 cards that we want to upgrade. Maybe with the no discards that could be a little rough. And we definitely want to evolve this Drowsy. Well, not necessarily evolve it, but we definitely want to grow it. So considering that we weren't making, we had already 2 rounds where we didn't have the 2-pair in the opening hand, I'll keep the Strength. I would love to take this High Priestess, but we need to evolve. Well, we don't need to, but I really want to evolve the Weeping Bell as soon as possible, so let's just skip that. Nope, one more time. Cubone, pretty strong, but we don't need the scoring, and it's going to take a little while before it evolves. The Parasect and the Drowsy and the Blastoise are going to be more than enough scoring. We got some re-triggers. So yeah, I think it's a perfectly reasonable choice to take the Cubone here, right? Maybe sell the Bellsprout or sell the Blastoise, the Wartortle. But I don't think we need to do that. Let's just go on to the next round. A random type is debuffed, that's fine. Okay, so we got, do we want more 5s or 6s or 10s? So we're even, so I guess we'll do one of each. Okay. Again, really would like to use the Leaf Stone, but let's just wait one more round. I guess we'll play this 2-pair. That'll give us another item. That's not very impressive. But we got our full house, so that's fine. Let's just use this here, because why not? And it should clear the round. There we go. Okay, now we got more than enough chips. Our Parasect is growing nicely. Our Drowsy is growing. Oh, now definitely going to grow nicely now. So let's go with the Celestial Packs. Earth we have, Pluto we have, so let's take the Jupiter. And go for the another 2. Let's see, we got these. Let's take the Saturn. Fortunately, we found 2 we didn't have yet. And the Mars. Now we're going to evolve, so we want to keep an open slot in this next round. Do we take the metal coat? I don't think that's really necessary. You could get another silver seal, I guess. But let's just skip that. Could take the Voltorb, maybe? Question mark. We have 9. Yeah, we have exactly 9 rounds to go. So it would last exactly as long as necessary. But since we might need to throw away the first hand, although I guess that doesn't really matter. Again, we don't need it, but I think it's worth consideration, right? And again, another example here. In regular Balatro, this kind of thing would never be worth it, right? You just keep it up for a few rounds and whatever. You wouldn't have it for the end, which is when you really need it. But here, the Voltorb will evolve after 4 rounds, and it'll have another 5 rounds as Electrode, so that's just the 9 that we would need. So it's definitely a reasonable take here, but we don't need it, so let's just reroll one more time. Sure, take the other full house level. Now we can finally use our Leaf Stone. Do we use it here? I don't think so. So what I'm going to do is this. Try to get some more 10s and 6s in hand. Oh, I did not expect that to win, but I should have thought about it better. Jesus. Okay, so we definitely don't need the full houses. There's a Cubone again. Again, it would be pretty reasonable to take it here, but I'm just gonna spend my money on other stuff instead. Let's see here. I don't think we need just a random Virgin 6. Let's skip that. Let's try the Arcana pack. There's a bunch of money. Or do we go for the lucky cards? So I don't think that's necessary. Let's just take the money. And take the Psychic Energy, sure. Get some rerolls in. We don't have any room for this upgrade. Venus we already have. Don't have any more Joker slots, so one more time. Colorless Energy, not necessary. Let's just move on. Okay. Don't even have a 2-pair, so I guess we'll just use the Linking Cord. Maybe make an... This is annoying. We don't have a Jack, we don't have a 7, so maybe we do it like this. Guess that's okay. Since we're going to play a full house, that's going to win, so let's use this Leaf Stone. We don't care if the seed card gets overridden, and it didn't anyway, so let's play this full house. Not exactly the one that I wanted, but that's fine. Getting plenty of scoring anyway. Now we're going to get even more scoring. Alright, let's try this standard pack. Don't need just another... So what would be the best term? The Virgin 10 or the Naked 10? I guess I like Naked better, but we don't need the Naked 10, so... So, another perfectly reasonable take, although at this point, probably not going to have enough time to grow it, and we're getting plenty of X-Molt already from the Hypno. We still have at least 2 planet cards to take, right? The Mercury and the Neptune. So let's check what's in this Buffoon pack for funsies. Probably not going to take anything. Yeah, definitely not. Let's look for these planets that we're missing. Twisted Spoon for a Leaf Stone. Sure, I'll take that. Let's go next. 1 and 7 face down. We didn't get any face down. Maybe we don't need to use that now. Let's just play this, maybe, do we play... I guess we don't really care about triggering this flower card, so let's just do this. No re-triggers, unfortunately. Not exactly what we're looking for, but I guess it'll have to do. Okay, there's the antimatter. Great, let's do that before we open this buffoon pack. So we got another slot. Do we want to fill it with Eternal Bidoof? Definitely not. I mean, not definitely not, but at this point we don't need that. And Dano is too late to be worthwhile. Maybe a Happiny, but I don't think we don't need chance. We don't need more lucky cards. So let's just take this pocket pack instead. So there's another leaf stone. Do we want to take anything else? I guess we could use this Terra Orb on the Victory Bell, but we really don't need chips. On the Parasect, since it only affects future triggers, it's not going to be too worthwhile. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this Leaf Stone now. Okay. And save this Water Stone. Let's do one reroll. Linking Port. Oh, we definitely want that. So let's just sell this and buy this. No jacks, no 5s, no 7s, no 9s. So let's play this 2 pair. I don't think this wins. I was burnt last time, but yeah, there we go. Ooh. Just because we didn't have any re-triggers, and we still have no good uses for the linking cord. What the hell? Oh, we have no more 9s, so we still have some 2s, some jacks, some 7s. I guess we'll do the Leaf Stone instead of another linking cord. Not the hits I was looking for, but I guess we'll do this. Well, I guess we could have just played a high card, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the 400,000, so we should be just fine. We don't need more chips. So let's do it in the correct order this time, right? Open the Arcana pack first. Okay, we have a 7 and a 5. Okay, so let's just use this linking cord while we can. And then we don't care about any of these actually. We still have a Joker slot, so let's try the Judgment. Sure, we're not playing straights, but we could use a 1.5 multiplier. Let's reroll one time. Love side deck, but not what we're looking for here. Let's open this. No Wraith this time, sure. Do we take the Cryptid? Or the Aura? I guess the Cryptid makes more sense. We're not very likely to find whatever we use the Aura on. We don't want face cards, so let's just get some more items. We still have a reroll, so whatever. Let's go next. Getting close to the end here. There's a full house. Unfortunately, the 4s aren't luckies for us to re-trigger, so let's just play this. And there's the money again. So again, at this point, it would be reasonable to sell the Glalie, but I like it, so I'm keeping it. Okay, guess it doesn't hurt to take this. Definitely doesn't hurt to take this. Let's open the pocket pack. Nothing impressive. Let's just save this Leaf Stone. Take the Celestial pack looking for a Mercury. There's the Mercury. One more. Oh, actually, one more. The Hierophant is fine. We don't need that. Let's just go next. Okay. Again, where am I re-triggered? Oh wait, we have a death card. So maybe we turn this queen, or yeah, this queens are doing nothing, into this 6. And then, I guess, use the Leaf Stone since we have these 2 here. And play this full house, sure. Didn't get the blue seal off the Hypno, but that's really not a big deal. There's another linking cord. There's a Pokeball. We don't care about... I mean, linking cord is okay, but Pokeball, whatever. Let's just sell this. Buy and use this. Let's try this Buffoon pack. Nothing really we're looking for here. We don't really care about any of these. It's more for fun anyway. Let's try this Pocket Pack. There's another Leaf Stone. But... yeah, there's nothing else that's very interesting. I guess we could take the Dawn Stone, but we don't need money. Let's just get this over with, right? Oh, I know what we're gonna do. Aha! Nope. Okay, that's fine. Let's take this Chariot. A couple rerolls. We already have the Mercury. We don't want Geodude. We don't care about a Devil card. Maybe we could take it, but whatever. Let's just go on. There's the Full House. No use for the linking cord, so let's just make you into a steel card, because why not at this point? Oh, well, we're gonna get 2 triggers, whether we play the 4s or the hisses, so whatever, let's just do this. It's gonna win for us anyway, especially with these 2 plus 20 mult triggers. Easy clear. Now, it's just going through the motions till we get to the end. Let's just open this Arcana pack. Oh my god, all the lucky cards in this build. If I had taken that Venonat, Jesus. Maybe I should have done that. Let's do this, and sure, more lucky cards, why not? Let's try this Celestial pack looking for a Neptune. No, we're not going to complete the Hypno, it seems, although we do have one more shot. Not necessary, let's just go next. Can we use the linking cord? Not really. I mean, we can, but maybe we should. What happens if we increase this and decrease this? Let's do that. So these 2 10s, we make them into luckies. And then we play this 2 pair. Does that win? Let's find out. Okay, fine. I should have sold the Glalie. I got it. But now it's too late for that. Okay. Would have loved the Togepi earlier in the run, right? We got so many lucky cards. But it's too late for that. So let's just look for this Neptune. Bummer. Yeah, so definitely not completing the Hypno, but that's fine. Whatever. Let's just open this. So what we got here. There's more linking cord. Sure, why not? And there we go. Boo. Aha. A couple rerolls for funsies. Oh, there's the Nept. Oh, come on. Hypno is complete. Yay. Alright, let's get this over with. Forces one card to be selected. We don't care about that. Yeah, let's just win this round. And this run. Is that enough? Yeah. There we go. Alright. So there you have it, a gold stake run starting off with Hoppip. Now, in the end, we didn't really take a lot of advantage of the extra hand size. Unfortunately, right, we didn't have a lot of jokers that benefited from that. We didn't have a lot of gold cards and steel cards and things like that. But we didn't need to, right? We got the classic combo of chips plus molt and X molt, right? Scaling plus molt, especially. And we even had a bit of a luxury, the Victory Bell, right? It was definitely not a necessity. But, you know, I love Victory Bell. It's just a dopey little guy. Anyway, one of the reasons that I like playing Hoppip / Jumpluff is that it kind of adds a challenge, right? Most of your runs are going to be using your discards freely. So it just gives you a new way to approach the game and to think about the game. And I really value that kind of thing. So I hope you had a good time. I know that I did. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to comment. I would really appreciate it. Get the channel off the ground. Either way, thank you very much for being here, but it's time to hit the road, Seismitoad.